So, how do you love someone across what feels like an impossible distance? You know, when your mind can be with them in a flash, but your body is just hopelessly left behind. Today, we're going to dive into this exact problem through a really powerful, personal, and surprisingly scientific group of Shakespeare's sonnets.
This one line, this really captures the core dilemma we're about to unpack. It's that painful gap between a lover's soaring desire and their frustratingly physical reality. And believe me, it's the engine that drives every single poem we're looking at.
Okay, so let's get into this. In these poems, Shakespeare's speaker isn't just, admiring someone from across a room. No, he is separated by miles and miles of road, long stretches of time, and this painful, echoing silence. This right here creates the central tension that he's going to try again and again to solve.
So, how does he try to solve it? Well, his first attempt is purely philosophical. He basically tries to use the power of his mind to break free from the prison of his own body. Okay, so check this out. Shakespeare introduces this beautiful paradox. The speaker argues that when he closes his eyes to sleep, when he winks, as he puts it, he actually sees his beloved more clearly in his dreams than he ever could in the messy, distracting waking world. Now, to build on this idea, Shakespeare actually pulls in the science of his day. Back then, it was believed that everything, including us, was made of 4 basic elements, and each of these elements had its own distinct properties that governed how things behaved. And this concept becomes the perfect metaphor for the speaker's crisis. His body, since it's made of the heavy, sluggish elements of earth and water, is literally weighed down, trapped, and can do nothing but weep. But his soul, that's his thought and desire, it's made of light, swift air, and fire. It can instantly leap across any distance to be with his love. But here's the thing. This intellectual escape offers no real comfort. It just traps him in this exhausting cycle. His soul flies off, leaving him in a melancholy stupor. Then it comes back with good news, bringing a brief moment of joy, but that very joy sends it flying back again, and boom, the sadness immediately rushes back in. All right, let's move on to his next attempt and see how this builds. Since pure thought totally failed him, the speaker turns to something a bit more tangible, creative, metaphorical substitutions for the real, absent person. He starts with this incredibly clever legal allegory. He imagines a courtroom battle going on inside himself between his eye and his heart, both fighting over who has the rightful claim to the beloved's image. A jury of his own thoughts is even assembled, and they deliver a formal verdict, splitting the property. This truce then leads to what he calls a painted banquet. The eye can now feast on a physical object, a miniature portrait, which was a very common token of love back in Elizabethan England, while the heart gets to feast on the inward thoughts of love. It's a substitute meal, for sure, but it does offer some nourishment. Then he explores the physical journey itself. As he's traveling away from his love, his horse just plods along, heavy and slow, almost like it can feel its rider's sorrow. Every step forward is a step into deeper grief, because all his joy is now behind him. But the journey back? Oh, that's the complete opposite. His desire to return is so powerful, so incredibly swift, that no horse could ever hope to keep up. He even imagines that if he were mounted on the wind itself, it would feel agonizingly slow. Desire doesn't need a horse, it'll just run on its own. Finally, he tries one last psychological trick. He tries to reframe absence as a good thing. He compares himself to a rich man who keeps his treasure locked away, only looking at it on special occasions. And why? Because seeing it too often would just dull the pleasure. He argues that infrequent meetings actually make the moments of joy sharper, more intense. But all of these, they're just temporary fixes, right? They're mental games to cope with the pain. It's here, in one of Shakespeare's most famous sonnets, that he finally lands on what he believes is the only true permanent solution to the problem of absence and time. Now this is one of the boldest, most audacious claims in all of literature. The speaker declares that this very poem, just these simple lines of ink on paper, will outlast giant stone statues and the gold-plated tombs of kings and princes. The poem wages an all-out war against what he calls sluttish time. He pictures time as this lazy housekeeper that just lets everything fall into ruin. So while time and war turn monuments to dust, this powerful rhyme creates a living record of his beloved that can't be burned or erased. It will survive, he claims, until the end of the world. I mean, that was an incredible claim 400 years ago, but it really makes you think, doesn't it? In our own age of data rot, broken links, and fleeting digital media,
Can a simple poem still deliver on this promise of forever? Does this claim still hold true?
But the story doesn't end there, with this triumphant victory of art. The final sonnets in this group act as this dark coda, revealing the deep psychological cost of this all-consuming love and the unresolved pain of just waiting.
The speaker adopts a posture that was pretty common in the love poetry of his day, the lover as a devoted slave to the beloved. But where other poets tended to idealize this as some kind of noble sacrifice, Shakespeare, he pushes right into its dark, humiliating reality.
And here's where we see this bitter irony. By carefully listing all the things a good slave is forbidden from feeling, impatience, bitterness, jealousy, he reveals to us that he is, in fact, feeling every single one of them intensely. The very act of denying the feeling is how he expresses it.
And this is the final devastating turn. The triumph of art creating an immortal monument doesn't change the daily reality of his life. He's condemned to wait, and he explicitly calls that waiting hell. And even worse, he's forbidden from even judging his beloved's actions, whether they're good or bad. It's a love that has found a way to conquer death, but still hasn't found a way to live in peace.